Hi, everyone. Kathy Beltran with Sacred Dance with Trance. I am super excited today that I actually have Kaz Dukes, here with us a second time. Kaz is a spiritualist medium and tutor of trance and altered states. This is actually her second time with us. So her first interview, she shared her development and her story, and you can find that on the YouTube channel, Kathy Beltran. You definitely have to watch it because she shares so much information, and she's back again today, sharing even more. But I do want to say that you can find Kaz at kazdukes.co.uk, and she has a fabulous Facebook group. And I know that you guys see that I recommend that group because I'm telling you, she is a sharer of information and she loves to help people. And that's Kaz Dukes, spiritual tutor at Acorn Academy. So everybody, welcome again, Kaz Dukes.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for having me again.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're like more relaxed this time.
A lot more relaxed, yeah.
And so we're just going to have a good time talking about it.
Good.
But the reason why we are doing the second one is, you guys know that we created the subgroup. I think it's called, I can never remember all the names, SDWT online and in-person circles. So a lot of people have joined there and they're hoping to create or join circles. Yes. And Kaz dropped in this document that was so helpful. It was, I believe, Sitting for Trance and Physical Mediumship. And there's so many things on there. And I was like, oh man, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Some of that stuff I didn't even know. Remember, I'm a beginner. And so seeing this list of things, I was like, holy moly. Okay, if I had questions about some of the things on there, I can imagine some of the members that are just starting, this is like their first month coming down this path. So I'm so grateful to you, Kaz, to come on here and talk more about.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. As I say, the things that were on that document are just really things that I found by going out and speaking to other people. They're just things that people didn't know or didn't have an understanding of. So that document really came together bit by bit, through my own experience, and it just seems to help. It just seems to be able to give people a bit of guidance if they need it.
It does. And, you guys are going to be able to find it in that group, and it's under the files. So definitely look for that, Sitting for Trance and Physical Mediumship. But what we were talking about was that before we hit record was how she found, actually, a lot of people are finding out that just to be a sitter for trance or physical mediumship, that they didn't really know how to do that. That there was more involved than just sitting there. And so that's some of the things we're going to talk about. So
it's difficult because, like I said before, so many people are put the emphasis actually on the medium and the medium's journey and how the medium should be and the things they should do. But to me, the sitters are just as important. But if you've never sat for somebody in trance before, or for physical medium before, you've never actually been the sitter, it's difficult for that person to understand what their role is. Because there's far more than just sitting there watching. Mm-hmm. You have a job to do, you have a role to play within that sitting. And it was just to try and help people and explain to people this is some of the things that you need to be doing, what you need to understand. And if somebody is setting out from the very beginning and setting their own circle up, which, fair play to everybody that sets a circle up, do it. It's nice to know that the sitters have an understanding of what their role is. So that was one of the reasons for putting it into that group.
Oh, no, I think, like I said, and we are having in that group, I think there's so far 3 new circles created. Just from that little group. So that's awesome. And
excellent.
Yeah.
Love it.
For them. So one of the things, okay, let's just start about forming a circle. If you are lucky enough to get a bunch of members or people coming together that want to form a circle, what the harmony, like having harmony, how would all that start to play? I mean, everybody comes together and then what?
A lot of it, I think initially, a lot of it is a little bit of trial and error as well, because people have to be able to sit together to see whether they have got that harmony.
Yeah.
They need initially to all be on the same page, to all have the same intent.
Same intent.
You know, you will get some people that want to be the medium. You will get some people who are quite happy just to be the battery. You know, you will get some people who just want to be there. But if you're not all on the same page and have the same intent, but remember, every circle should be spirit-led. You know, so spirit will decide who the medium is.
Wow.
You know, it shouldn't be dictated by the circle. You know, spirit will, bit by bit, decide which of those people will be the medium, if any. You may get a circle where none of them are the medium, and they're just setting a circle up, ready and waiting for the medium to arrive.
Wow.
You know, so you know, initially, if you're looking to set a circle up yourself, which you know I hope many people do, start by getting people who have got the same interest. The people who've got a love of that particular type of mediumship. And then it's a case of sitting together, blending together, and allowing to see whether that harmony then starts to appear.
Wow.
If you have somebody who is already a medium, a trance medium or a physical medium, or showing signs of physical, if the spirit world are happy for those people to be the medium, then you've got to try and get people who are willing to learn how to sit.
Learn how to sit.
Because one of the things that the medium can't do, because usually if you have got a trance medium, they've already got a good knowledge of what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't be the medium, working medium, and be the tutor for the sitters as well. That's just physically impossible to do. So you've either all got to sit together and learn together before you start sitting for the medium, or you've got to have somebody in that circle who understands it all, who can help the other sitters as well.
Wow. Well, as you're saying these things, I'm looking back to the formation of my own circle way back when, and I'm like, well, we went through a lot. Like, you know, coming together, we all, you know, we thought we had the same intent, and eventually in time, we're losing members.
Yeah.
And now,
natural. That's a natural part of a circle. I mean, one of the things we always say is that there's no sentiment in these type of circles. You know, if your best friend sits for you or sits within the circle, but then all of a sudden that it feels wrong, then you have to let them go. You have to ask them to step aside. It isn't personal. It's nothing to do with, you know, your friendship. And this is where a lot of people struggle, I think, because they are all friends. Yeah. And it's very difficult to say to somebody who's your friend, you know, it just doesn't feel right sitting with us anymore, because that's hard.
Oh my God, it is hard. Yes, I've been there, you know.
I mean, some people will come into a circle for a short time. You know, they will do the job that they needed to do, and some people are meant to stay. Yeah. You know, so it is difficult. Sitters will come and go. They really will come and go. And that's all part of it, because you're just creating that harmony. You're then enhancing that harmony rather than, you know, looking for a brand new circle.
Wow.
So
let me pause for 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. Just somebody was coming in the room here. Okay, so I do have a question for you. So when members come together, they're not sure who's going to be the medium, or what if they're all mediums and they're not sure, and nobody's done trance yet, and allowing the spirit world to decide who is going to be the one, we just leave it up to them? I mean, that was one question I had from somebody.
Yes, I think it becomes evident.
Okay.
The more you sit together, the more evident it becomes as to who is actually going to be the medium.
Okay.
Because the spirit world will work with them more.
Okay.
They will choose them, you know, that particular person. So if you all sit together and you all blend together and learn to blend and harmonize together, you will find that bit by bit, one person will start to be taken down more. you will find that the spirit world are more interested in one person. And it's listening to them. Listen to what they're telling you. Feel into it. You know, if it feels right for that person to, I mean, one week it could be one person that is, you know, goes into the altered state. Another week it could be somebody else.
Wow.
You know, so but if you sit totally open-minded, you know, not expecting anything at all, and allow them to do the work.
You make it sound really easy, you know?
It should be easy. Mediumship should be easy. Finding the correct sitters is the hard part.
Yes. No, I agree with you on that. Absolutely. Okay, so I'm looking at this list that you have. I wanted to clarify something with people because people like in the group right now, they're asking about a cabinet.
Yes.
If you're sitting for trance, do you need a cabinet?
Not necessarily, no. A cabinet is just an aid.
Okay.
It is just a piece of wood, or it is, as we both use, is a portaloo. It's just, don't want to use that as well. It is just an aid.
Okay.
You know, it just allows the medium to be in a place where the energy is just a little bit stronger. But you don't need to have it. No, it just, I mean, it helps me. Mm-hmm. It may not help somebody else. You know, I can only speak from my own personal experiences, but I've always found that it does help, but it is just an aid.
Yeah. Well, I think I posted a picture of mine in the group, and it is that one portable.
Yes.
Portable
shower. Shall we call it portable camping shower?
Yes,
that sounds better.
Exactly. And I got it because I heard that if you sat in there more, that you could feel the difference in energy.
Yes, you can.
Yes, and yes. I agree. I absolutely agree you can.
Yeah, you can.
That's why I like it.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. It's one of those feelings that unless you've sat in it, you can't really explain to somebody the difference. It just feels more personal, more intense, you know, more condensed around you, really.
Yeah. It is wonderful, and it is crazy because if you don't, the one that I have, it's portable, so you can just fold it right up. And
that's what I do. I've got 3 that I take out with me as well. If I'm doing a workshop, I take 3. I just roll them up into the bags and off we go.
Oh, pretty good. So I wanted to look over, what did you find as far as a sitter who's going to come into a circle, or what is their job as a sitter for them to understand?
Yes. Yeah, it depends, because you usually find that, I mean, the sitters are there to create the energy and to create the conditions for things to happen. Mm-hmm. But each sitter will have a slightly different role to play. So you will have one person that will connect with the medium.
Okay.
That will link with the medium, know where they are within their altered states. Wow. So we call those the anchor.
Anchor.
Yeah. So they really, their role really is to look after the medium from our side of life. Okay. You will then have maybe another sitter that we call the battery, who can provide and throw their energy, that can give that extra energy to the medium. You may have several of those. You may have somebody who's very good with their mental mediumship, who can be aware of who else is, you know, in the room, who's joining the medium. So each person has, you know, may find that they have a different role, or as time goes by, they develop their own little role within the circle.
Do you think that the anchor could also do the job of seeing who's in the room?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Especially if, I mean, we used to sit just 2 of us. So when I was in the cabinet, the gentleman that I used to sit with, he used to have to do everything. He had to be anchor, battery, observer, you name it, he had to do everything. Yes.
No, I'm saying this because I just had my circle yesterday, and it's very interesting because remember, like I said, we've only been doing it for so long. We're still experimenting, you know, trying to, you know, but when you brought up the anchor, and when I asked you the questions, because yesterday at one point I felt like, wait a minute, I think I was doing all of that.
Yes.
So yes, okay, awesome, wow. And this is actually going to be good because people don't understand that it's not just you sitting there.
No.
There's so much to do, and I know
Right.
you somewhere you even brought about colors. What if you observe or see colors? I think that's where you wrote that up in here.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. There's so much to think about. It's difficult to train somebody to do this. It's ideal to be there with them at the time, to say to them, what colour are you seeing? What is happening with that colour? What does that colour make you feel? Because one colour will mean something to somebody, but that same colour will mean something different to somebody else. Mm-hmm. So, it's working with these colours, knowing what they mean, how they, like with physical mediumship, a good colour to see is red.
Red, okay.
So it's just working out with the colours, how they're working, how the energy's moving, there's so much to think about. I could go on and on and on.
Okay, so when you say how the energy is moving,
yes,
is that just when connecting and feeling the medium, what the energy is happening around the medium, or I'm just trying to think of what I'm...
Yes, within the room as well, because the energy will be different when you're sitting for different things.
Okay.
So when you're working with physical mediumship, the energy will be vibrant. It will have what I call a fizz to it.
Yes, wow.
So it could be vibrant. It could be how we found it in the past is that it moves quite quickly. I actually see it vibrating, the energy vibrating.
Wow.
But when you sit in for trance, it's a lot more passive. It's very slow, very it's lovely to sit in that energy is wonderful. So it's different for different types of mediumship.
Okay.
So when you're sat together as a group, when you're setting up your circle, if you understand the energy, you will know really what the intent of the night is, because if you're sitting in a beautiful passive energy, then it will be more trance-based.
Trance-based, okay. Wow, okay.
But that can change through a sit-in. That can alter. Wow. We've sat before where we've started off and the energy has been very passive. So we've gone with that. We've played the sort of music that fits that type of energy. But then we've noticed that something's changing and something is altering, and then it's speeded up. It's got more vibrant. It's got more oomph about it. So we've started to sing to keep the power and the energy going. So it's recognizing when that energy is changing. It's recognizing when the energy and the power is dropping slightly. What can the sitters do to get it back up again?
Okay, and that would be by singing?
Singing is a fantastic way. Yeah, fantastic way, because your voice gives off energy. So the more you can sing, the louder you can sing, the more energy will be produced.
Wow. So as the sitters, they would feel the energy dropping, and then if they felt that, or if it started getting more wilder, so then you would just start singing.
Yes.
To lift them, okay.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, wonderful. And so any songs, just like regular songs?
Again, it depends. If you're sitting for trance, you are better with more soothing type of music. But that, again, please remember that this is in my experience, that for trance and things like that, you need things to calm everything down, to calm your mind, to relax into. But some people, again, like to sit to, say, Queen. They can drift off to that. Wow. So it is very dependent upon the medium, really, as to what resonates with them. I have put a list on my site, actually, with some of the music that I've used in the past.
Yes, you did. I saw that list.
For anybody that's starting out, if they don't know what sort of music to use, they could maybe try some of those that are on that list and just see if it works for them. Because until they try it, they won't know.
So would you recommend just having that music play in the background during when you're sitting for trance, having that music play in the background at all
Yes, I would. Yes, yeah, that's always worked for us. Yes, I mean, the sitters sometimes have to sit quiet, you know, and just be that music, just to allow the medium to go to a place where they need to be.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm learning a lot already, and I know we just started. I could sit here and be like, oh, wait a minute, we are recording, aren't we? Oh my goodness. So having the awareness, okay, the group is what I think is wonderful is that everybody comes together and shares. And yes. The one thing I have found is that there's so many different opinions. Everybody has their different understanding. And I think it's wonderful for, you know, anybody that asks a question, they're looking at all the comments that are in there. But one of the things that I find, it's all the same, that it takes that dedication and the perseverance, all of these things in there. And it's just you with spirit after that, you sitting.
Yeah. When you set a circle up and when you start sitting for the spirit world, you're committing to them as well as to the circle. You know, you're making a commitment to them that I will sit for you at this time of the week, whatever, you know, whatever day it is, at the same time, the same people. You're making that commitment to them, but you're also committing to the circle as well. You know, I will be there. I will be at that, you know, at that place at that allotted time. You know, so it's a wonderful thing when everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
You know, if you find that one of your sitters finds it one week that, you know, they're going off out for a drink or they're going off out to the cinema, all that would set alarm bells off for me.
Yeah.
Because I would think, well, what's more important?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if this is something that you genuinely want to do, then you will go to the cinema on another night.
Yeah.
And I'm quite strict in that way. You know, we have set a target, we have set a goal, we've set an intent. Let's honour that. Let's honour the spirit world by being there when we say we will be there.
No, I absolutely agree with you on that. I think a lot of times we've lost sitters just on that as well.
Yes.
And it's really hard if you are the one that is the leader or having to be the one that's, you know, talk to everybody separately.
Very, very difficult.
Oh, it's hard.
Very difficult. All it takes is one event for that harmony to be gone.
Oh, yeah.
It can take one sentence, one word, for that harmony to be gone. And once it's gone, it's very difficult to get that back.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree on that.
And it is easier to ask that sitter to step aside. But it's not a personal thing. And I think some people would take, you know, they do take it personally, but it's not. It's not a personal thing. It just means that for that, they've done their job for that period of time, and now it's time for them to move on.
I think what I would always ask them in the end, before that movement would occur, is just all I had to do was ask them, really, why are you here?
Yes.
What do you want from this? You know, and if it wasn't, and they would actually end up answering the right reason for moving on. And so it made it easy.
They tend to answer their own question, really, in that respect. Yes. I mean, for our circle, I actually wrote out, not a contract, I don't like to put it as a contract, but to explain, because we were already an established circle, we weren't starting from scratch, how our circle ran, you know, what was expected of every member of the circle, not just, you know, those that have been in it from the beginning, but it just allowed the new people to have a look at it. They took that away and then they came back to say, could they give that commitment to it? You know, because if they can't give that commitment, then there's no point in starting them in the first place. Wow. You know, so I did it, you know, for us, I wrote out, you know, everything about the circle. You know, that apart from holidays, illness and death, they should be there.
That's true. But I love that. A contract, you know, at least something written up so they would understand that. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, I'm still going down. Everything you're saying, I'm like, yes, I had that same experience and that was not a fun one, or, you know.
No, it's not. It really isn't. And then you're left also then with, you need somebody else. You know, you need somebody to fill that space.
Yes.
You know, and it's what do you do? How do you find good sitters?
Yeah.
You know, but I think if you can find people who have got that right intent and want to sit for the right reasons, you can then train them how to be a sitter. So even though, I mean, we've just recruited 2 new people for our circle, and neither of them had ever sat for it before. One the gentleman that just started, he'd sat for Trance many years ago. He was a sitter for a Trance circle, but he never ever sat for us, you know, for the circle that we sit for. So we spent a week where we didn't sit as normal. We all gathered together, but there was no cabinet. We all sat together as a group, and it was talked through about what are you feeling, what are you sensing, you know, what colours can you see, why do you think you're seeing that, what does that make you feel, you know, which way is the energy moving around the room, you know, and things like that, so that the following week when we did sit properly, they remembered that they worked with what they'd learned the week before.
Wow.
But it's also, that also brought us together. So going back to basics to me is a good thing. You know, taking your circle back to basics is a fantastic thing. It's not a step back, it's a step forward to go back to basics.
Is this would be, I mean, when you would get new sitters and doing that? Okay.
Yeah, go back to basics with them all, because I think it's good for everybody to go back to basics.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so when you get somebody new into an already established circle, take everybody back to basics.
How many people would be a good number to have in a circle? Or is there not a limit?
I don't think there's a limit, to be honest.
Okay.
I think every circle is different. Every circle will have different requirements. You know, so the spirit world will very often tell you or send you somebody if they're needed. Or they will let you know somehow that more energy or more power is needed.
Wow.
You know, so it's then that you start to look. I mean, if you put an advert out online to say, you know, we are an established circle and we're looking for 2 sitters, you'd be inundated with people.
Wow.
But unless spirit tell us, you know, that they're ready, or that there's an opening, or they need more people, it's a case of, you know, hang fire until they tell us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and see, I'm trying to think of all these questions because, okay, I'll just be honest with you guys. My messenger is like over the top now. Instead of people posting the questions in the group, which I really hope they would, I have like, okay, I can't even keep up with it, but there's so many questions. I'm trying to remember things to ask here. I do encourage everybody, please just post it in the group because people will respond. They will.
Of course they will. Yes. Of course they will. And they'll also see that people will respond with different answers.
Yes.
You know, which is nice because there is no set way to do this. Every medium's different. Every circle should be different. You know, so you have to find what's right for you and your circle. You know, people will give you guidelines, you know, which is great to have that guidance. It's absolutely great, and it can kickstart you in the right direction. But as your circle develops and your medium develops, things will change. You know, so it won't always be that basic knowledge that you've gained. You will grow with the circle. You know, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, no, I believe it. So from the list of things sitters need to learn how they need to sit, I think we have so far like 3 different ways. Okay, so you have the anchor, the battery, and then the mental medium, or the one that might be able to tune in what's going on as far as energy. Is there anything else as a sitter besides, and colors, you know?
You need to be a person that can give their energy freely. There will be some people who want to do this, who want to be a sitter, but they're what I call as energy takers. So as other sitters are passive, you know, throwing their energy and giving their energy freely to the spirit world, other medium or other sitters may take that energy.
Wow.
And they can be the most wonderful people, but if they're energy takers, then they're not right for for that circle, because you should be giving your energy freely, not taking it.
Okay. And when you say give your energy freely, so I'm trying to get also visual things, would that be also like, focusing like all your energy, sending your energy out? I'm just trying to think of ways that somebody could.
Yeah, it is. But it's also saying to the spirit world, take from me whatever is needed for the medium. Take from me whatever your world needs to create these right conditions.
Wow. That's beautiful.
I mean, yes, we all send the energy, and it's wonderful to share that energy. But people forget to say to the spirit world, take what you need. What is it you need from me for this sitting?
Oh, that's beautiful. So you also mentioned the battery. So some people ask me, well, when I'm sitting in a circle, sometimes I just get really sleepy and I can't help it, but I feel so sleepy. Would that be them being used?
Yes, because you're in that energy, you're in that moment. They're taking it from you, and you just can't have your eyes closed, and you're going with it. Just go with it.
Go with it. Okay.
Yeah, go with it.
Because I think I've heard some snoring at one time, in the group.
Yes. Yeah, we've had that before. Yeah,
okay.
when people are snorers.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so that is good to know. And then the giving of the energy, or being that way as well. Okay, so that actually is quite helpful just on that alone. So I'm looking at our list now, and I know that we're barely tapping on it. I think people that when they start a circle or joining a circle, is it necessary that they have more knowledge or an understanding about trance or physical, whichever the one they're sitting?
I think it helps.
Yes, I think
it does. It really does help to have some knowledge. It helps the medium relax, because if you're the medium and you're the one that's drifting off and handing everything over, it helps to know that you've got somebody in your circle who knows what they're doing.
Yeah,
it really does. But yeah, I think it's good that they all have some knowledge of the process and how it works. I think it just helps the circle. It helps the circle. It helps the medium. So it's go and get that knowledge, learn and go and sit with other people, go on workshops, do whatever is necessary to gain that knowledge.
No, I think that's beautiful. And I think even when I'm looking back to my own circle, some members that first started, they really didn't have that knowledge or the understanding. And that was okay, but we still would talk in the beginning. But one thing, I bring this up because I still get questions about people having a fear. They're so used to mental mediumship, they're just a little bit afraid to go down trance mediumship or physical mediumship or even sit for it.
And that's just lack of knowledge, lack of understanding.
I agree.
Because once you get the understanding, the fear goes away.
Yes, it does.
So if they're battling with that fear, and you do hear a lot, I hear a lot of that as well. I would, I'll sort of say to people, would you're going to sit within the cabinet if we're doing a workshop. Would you like to go and sit in the? Oh no, I don't want to go and do. It's why. So it's a case of giving them the understanding so they don't fear it anymore. Because once you take that fear away, then you're opening up so many more doors. It's wonderful.
It is.
This is the lack of understanding that really stops a lot of people from moving forward.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, we've lost members from that because they still had the fear of the not, and to me, it was not an understanding. And
also having expectations.
Oh, that's a good one.
As well.
That's a good one.
You may have people who come and sit in your circle who demand that things happen, or who say, well, I'm disappointed because that didn't happen.
Wow.
Again, wrong sitters, wrong people.
Yeah.
People should go and sit. If you're going to sit in a circle, you sit for the spirit world, and we never demand from them. But you sit for them. We don't tell the spirit world what we want. Mm-hmm. We say to them, what is it you want? How can we help you? you know, rather than demand. If you get somebody in your circle who demands something, get rid. Is it plain and simple?
That's
Get rid.
good. I'm gonna, because you know, in the group I have a list that I just generically did.
Yes.
How to do your own sugar. There's some things that you have said here that I'm like, oh, that's got to be added to there. You know,
Yes.
actually a lot of it, but you already have that list
Yes.
in there as well. Okay, so let me double check on this. To create more energy, that would be singing.
Yep.
And I was about to say dancing, but so singing and sending love or sending the energy.
Absolutely. Sending good vibes. Yes. Absolutely.
Okay, so now ectoplasm.
Yes.
That is a physical mediumship.
Yes.
That would happen physical mediumship. This would not happen in trance, right?
No.
Okay, perfect.
If anybody wants to really understand ectoplasm, go on to Scott Milligan's site.
Oh gosh. Yes.
Go onto his site, listen to his videos, because he's got a fantastic way of explaining exactly how it works. I mean, there's nobody better to explain it than him.
Oh yeah, he's really good.
So, yeah, go onto his site, listen to him, get an understanding from him, because he will explain it in a way that everybody can understand.
Yes. He and he also goes live sometimes. Yes,
it's very often live. Yes.
And there's
you can ask questions. You can, you know, if you've got a question about anything to do with physical mediumship, in fact, any kind of sitting, but especially physical mediumship and things like ectoplasm, go and ask questions. Go and ask him.
Yeah,
and listen to his live feeds. Listen to his videos.
Yeah,
because
and there's lots of them on YouTube. You know, right now I think he has quite a few videos on YouTube, interviews that he's done and stuff. So yeah, very. Just, I mean,
he also does the videos on his own site as well, where he will just talk. He will just talk on certain subjects.
Wow. So yeah, definitely find that out. Okay, so I'm looking through our things. Okay, prayer.
Oh yes, I love prayer. And a prayer doesn't have to be religious.
Okay, yeah.
It doesn't have to be, you know, when people first talk about prayer or think about prayer, they think of the religious side of things. But a prayer doesn't have to be that at all. It's very rare we ever use what we would class as a religious prayer. We like to use prayers that come from inside of us. Something that comes from the heart, and it sets the intent for the night. So it's just such a powerful thing to start the process. But if you also get people, when they do opening prayer, that do it relayed from their own mind. You know, it's the same prayer that they use every week wherever they go.
Okay.
If they can learn to come away from that and come away from the rehearsed prayer, to just taking a breath, taking your time, and imagine that you are talking to your spirit person in front of you. Just imagine that they are stood right in front of you before you start to work. What would you want to say to them?
That's good. That's good to have that visual and do that.
Yeah, it is, because as you opening that prayer and you're feeling it, you are talking to the spirit world. You know, help us to do this. Help us to be as one.
Well, I think that I am going to take a look at myself now when I do my and see, wow.
But you'll notice that your prayer will be very, people, you know, the prayer is very similar every time you hear it.
Yeah.
But that's coming from the mind, not the heart.
The heart. And would you also, at the end, finish with prayer?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Just to show your gratitude for, you know, for the fact that they have been present, they have helped you. You know, they are spending their quality time with you. That's such an honor. You know, why shouldn't we thank them at the end?
No, I agree. You know, I was thinking about a post in the group today. I was, you know, just going through all the posts, and somebody had asked, you know, as they're sitting for trance in a circle, they are feeling all these different energies come in. And they think that the first person that comes in, and these are in comments, this could be in a different group too, would be their guide, their control. Does a control show up the first time around, or do other spirits come in and observe and check out what's happening?
Oh, they do with us. Yes, they do with us.
Okay.
Yeah, we have visitors.
Okay, the visitors. That's a better way to call that.
We have visitors.
Visitor.
Yes, and as your trance develops and you have your main control, they may not necessarily always be the first one that joins with you.
Wow. Okay.
But you get to know their energy anyway.
Okay.
You know, as soon as you feel their energy, it's almost like a switch, because you think, I know who this is now, I can go off.
Wow. Okay.
You know.
I'm looking at some of the questions again, and I'm trying to see if we actually covered this one. Do you know how to properly communicate? Oh no, we did, with a spirit when they come through the medium.
Yes.
How? So, if someone starts speaking.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Yes,
so
absolutely. When the spirit world start to talk to you, they've come to tell you something. They've come for a reason. They've come to pass some sort of information on to you. But if your sitters are saying, can you tell me what your name is? How long ago did you live? What did you pass off? And are bombarding them with questions, that spirit person may not have the opportunity to actually come and tell you what it was they wanted to tell you.
Wow.
So when your medium begins to speak and the spirit world are speaking through them, encourage them for a start off, encourage that spirit person to get closer, to keep going, praise them, you're doing very well, keep coming forward, get them to a place where they're comfortable, but then allow them to speak, allow them to tell you what it is they've come to tell you. Some mediums can only sustain the energy for so long. Mm-hmm. If you bombard them and you are asking all the questions, you're taking that time. You're taking that precious time away from the spirit person. That is
good. That is really helpful, because I could see people right away asking these questions and then
bombard them. Yes. And they haven't come forward, for that. If they want you to ask questions, they will say, would somebody like to ask a question? They will invite the sitters to ask questions.
Wow. Okay.
But until that point, they should refrain from asking the questions. Talk to them like we're talking now, but that you can talk to them without asking questions.
Okay. That will be very helpful for a lot of people, to know that. Okay. I have seen you set up, get ready to set up for a seance. I've seen pictures, and so one of the things is, do you know what is required within a seance room and how to set up and be ready for a sitting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I set up at my own home, but I also set up at a place called Mansfield for when Scott Milligan comes to work for us. And so setting up is one of the things that I do quite a lot. But yes, it's making sure that the room has the correct conditions, not just for the seance to take place, but for the safety of the medium also, especially if it's physical. So it's making sure that you've completely blacked out, making sure that there is no light coming through anywhere at all. It's depending on where you are, of course, trying to make that room a little bit more clinical. Mm-hmm. Try and take objects out that, should an apport ever happen, that it isn't something that's wrong within the room. So try and make your room as bare as possible. Have it nice and at a nice, comfortable temperature so that the sitters are comfortable. Because as you know yourself, it gets very cold, and it can get really, really cold. So if you start off at a nice temperature, then if all of a sudden it's getting really, really cold, and I mean icy cold, then that that's the spirit world rather than the fact that heating's gone off. It's just making sure that everybody's comfortable. Try and sit in the same seats each time you sit. Try and be in the same place. Same seats. And things like, for a bigger centre, You also have to make sure that the electrics are off. You have to make sure that any emergency lights aren't, because where we are, there's a little green light on the ceiling, which is the emergency light that takes over when you switch the lights off. So there's a lot more to it than that. I mean, we actually, for a seance to take place, we seal all the internal doors as well. So we don't just put, at home, we just put a curtain up at the door. But in proper seance conditions, the doors are sealed with tape, with big plastic bags, so everything is sealed in.
That's a lot of work, okay? Because
it's a lot of work, yes.
I tried to seal up my room here, and I got these big windows, and I'm up there with these really heavy curtains with duct tape, and I'm like,
yes,
oh my God, and it's still light in here, So, yeah. That's
at home, I mean, for where we sit, I've got a big bay window. So what I've done, I've got some very thick black plastic that you can use. You can usually get them from garden centres because it's the thick pond liner type plastic. Cut it out to the size of your window and put thick black tape inside the window for a start off. Then on the outside of my bay window, I've had a wooden frame put with Velcro on the outside of the wooden frame. And then I've had a blackout curtain, obviously with sewn Velcro onto it, so that we get a complete blackout sheet at the window as well. And then the curtains are also blackout material. So we've got 3 layers of blackout. So yeah,
that's a lot, 3 layers, but
it is. But the problem we have is that in the summertime, the sun comes round and is shining through my bay window.
Oh goodness!
So we have to have that. We have to have those 3 layers to stop that light, because the slightest little bit you will get light bleed.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no matter what I did, I mean, I would have had to do what you did, like layer upon layer, because even the one layer that I tried to do, it was still, I could still see
it. Over the years, we've tried many different techniques of how to get absolute blackout, and we finally achieved it.
That's good. One of the things you asked here is, do you understand the importance of blending?
Yes.
Yes.
It is important. It is important. It's a way of you connecting and being with the spirit world, and it's a way of refilling the energies that you've already used. I heard a good phrase at the weekend is that if you drink out of a pint glass, you have to replenish that. Wow. Because the more work you do, the more your drink goes down. But at some point, you have to replenish that. Actually, going to be on empty. Wow. So blending is. I think blending is a very personal thing. Mm-hmm. It's something that's between you and your team members and your friends in the spirit world. Yeah. But without it, you're not going to sustain anything.
No,
and some people only do this once a week. But you think that's only, if they blend for an hour once a week, that's only 52 hours a year.
Yeah, I think that doing it, there came a point where, to me, I love how it feels. I don't know what it is. It's beautiful, beautiful. So I love.
You never want to come out of it. It's it's one of those experiences that you just want to stay there. It's wonderful. But it's got a purpose to it as well. It's even though as lovely as it is, it has a purpose.
Yes, I agree, and I like how you said that with the pint and replenishing, and so that's beautiful.
I mean, if you drink everything from out of that cup, you've got nothing left, and you are running on empty. Mm-hmm. So by sitting with them and blending and rebuilding and filling that back up, you're ready to go again.
Wow. Some people would call that charging your mediumship battery.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
You have this one thing here that says, what do you do if you're sitting and something feels wrong?
Yes.
And what would that be?
Right. Things can feel wrong. Things can feel wrong in the fact that you may have someone from the spirit world that's never been before. You don't know their energy. maybe their energy doesn't feel right for the circle. You may feel that if the anchor's picking up on the medium, something feeling not right with the medium. There's lots of little things that that can be wrong, that you have to be aware of, and you have to know how then to deal with it. There is some people who, if they've never sat, but you find this more in a workshop, but if they've never sat for trance before or altered states before, they can go into a bit of a panic, because they will be going down into that altered states, and they will feel something or feel themselves going, and they panic, and then they can come out of it really quickly, and you have to learn how to deal with that as well.
Okay, that's good to know. So I'm trying to go through here because I want to talk about each one of these things. I think we've been a lot. What do you do if an unknown spirit person blends with your medium and things don't feel right? Would that be, so for as a sitter and you're feeling that?
Yes.
What do you do if you're feeling that?
If I was the anchor for somebody who was sitting for trance, I knew the medium, I knew the team, I knew who worked with them, but I was feeling really uncomfortable with the person who was blending with the medium, I would actually call the medium, ask the spirit person kindly first of all to step away or find out who they are. But if I wasn't having much luck with that, then I would talk the medium back round and stop the sitting.
Okay, that's what I was thinking you would. Okay.
Yeah.
To make sure on that. So water. How important is water?
Water is more for physical.
Okay.
You will find that as you sit in a physical circle, that when the spirit world begins to work, they can take moisture from the air, so you become very dry for a start off. The sitters will become dry, the mouths will become dry, but it's because they're pulling moisture from the air. But they can also take it from the medium as well. So to have that bowl of water there, they can use that rather than having to do it from the medium or, from the atmosphere itself. So
this is a bowl just in the circle with water.
Yep.
Okay.
Somewhere near the cabinet, somewhere where it's not going to cause any problems of, tripping up over it or getting knocked over. But yeah, you'll find that most physical mediums will have a bowl of water somewhere near the cabinet.
Okay. I'm going to pause something real quick because I'm getting something. Hold on. Okay, so we're back again. I had to double check where I was because I had papers all over the place. I'm going, wow, Taz is awesome, because I had asked one question, she'd answered 5, and I had to catch up and figure out where I was. One of the things that I wanted to share was, within the group, the reason why this group is here is for people to ask questions. It's for help, and Taz had this wonderful experience this weekend, and I was asking her if she could share, what she found important about it.
Yes, for a while now, and I think one of the important reasons for talking about this is because people shouldn't be embarrassed about it. I'm not ashamed to say that I needed help. I'm not ashamed to say that I have lost my way, and also realise that I'm one of these people who's always had a comfort blanket. In all the work that I've ever done, I've always had somebody there with me. I've always had that comfort blanket. And when that comfort blanket is taken away from you, you are left feeling so vulnerable, so vulnerable. But that's okay, because it just means that you are now on a different journey, and you have to learn to go it alone. But for somebody who's never had that's quite a scary prospect. So I've known for a week or two that this was the position I found myself in, is that something was changing, something was altering, and I knew that I had put up some enormous barriers, absolutely enormous barriers, because I was so reliant on my comfort blankets, being in the same place where we sit with the same people, losing our circle leader, who was my absolute rock. Everything was altering and changing. And I knew that this trip that I did at the weekend, even though I sort of made fun of the trip and kept everybody guessing, was such a personal trip for me on my own personal journey, not just for my development, but for me personally as well. I needed to do it alone. I needed to go somewhere where, first of all, I trusted the tutor. You know, if you've got a trust in a tutor, that can go miles. So I knew that it had to be somebody that I trusted with my life, which obviously I do. But I also had to go and release all those fears and those barriers that I was putting up, and that's a scary prospect. It is scary, but it's okay to do that. It's okay to feel that. You know, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing this, it doesn't matter where you are within your journey, it's okay to feel that you need help. It's okay to feel that you are not losing control, because it's not a losing control situation. It's more of, at this moment in time, I feel lost. You know, and to reach out to somebody else and say, help me here. I need help to get back on track. I've seen so many people have come to this or been in this situation who've walked away from it all. And they've walked, and that is such a shame, because they don't want to ask for help. They don't want to put their hands up and say, you know, I'm at a place where things have changed. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm meant to be doing. You know, help me. So that's what this weekend was about.
Well, I think, and watching you go live, which, I mean, I would never go live.
Massive fear. Absolutely massive. I hate the camera, hate it with a passion. But I knew that I had to get over. That was the very beginning of one of my fears. And I thought, I've got to conquer this. If I don't do it, I mean, I didn't even say anything very interesting on there. It was the pure and utter fact that I did it, and I conquered that one fear. You know, I did things at the weekend that I would never have done. I would never have walked around, you know, a huge town or city that I went to on my own. Would never have done that.
Yeah.
You know, but to actually sit there and say to somebody who I trusted, I don't think I would have perhaps said it to somebody I didn't know, but to say to somebody that I trusted, you know, I've lost my way, I don't know where I'm going, you know, help me, really. Just,
I think that's wonderful, because, you know, I've heard from a lot of people that message me and saying that their circle or their group or, you know, their direction keeps shifting, or something's happened and they're shifting. They're not sure what to do now. They're so used to it being a certain way, then everything gets, you know, thrown, you know, completely off. And, you know, sometimes they think they're not sure what to do. So asking for help and being so lucky to have somebody that you trust that will help you in that. And then, you know, I've also heard of people that do, assessments your circle. See, that's wonderful too, if you can have that.
It is, but people are afraid to ask. You know, people are afraid to admit that they're in that situation. You know, and anybody, we're human. At the end of the day, we're still human. Doesn't matter, you know, what role we play within or where we are within our journey. You know, if you can still be humble enough to say, I'm lost, I need direction, you know, that's just so empowering to be able to actually say that and know that you're not going to be ridiculed, or you're not going to be, you know, somebody's not going to say something to you that will pull you down and knock your confidence. You know, it's a wonderful thing and people need to be able to do that. They need to be able to say, you know, at this point in time, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know where I'm going, what's happening, you know, and to have somebody there just to say, right, let's talk, let's see what's happening, let's find out what's going on. You know,
well, I love that. I love it. And I think with the group, especially with the group, you know, if you have questions or what's going on, you're not sure about something, post it.
Yes, absolutely ask.
Yes.
Absolutely ask. There will always be somebody who can answer it for you. There will always be somebody who's maybe been there themselves. You know, and who better to ask than somebody who's been there and who's worked the way through it? You know, do it. Go for it.
And
absolutely go for it.
I think within the group too is everybody comes together, because you already know that I rely on all of you. It's not like I can answer. I'm a beginner. So everybody comes in.
We're all beginners. We're all beginners.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
You know, none of us are experts at this. You know, if anybody, you know, professes to be an expert at something, you know, they're slightly not quite telling the truth, really, because we're all beginners.
Oh my goodness.
You know, you learn it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it, you learn every day. You learn from the people that you meet, you learn from the people you sit with. You know, you learn from your experiences. So we are all beginners.
You know, I will come out of circle and be thinking about something that happened. I'll jump into the group after that and I will be like, what I was thinking, somebody just posted and all these people responded to it, or it's always lined up that way. So if I have a question about something, I'm going to post it in the group because we're all there to help each other. That's
right. That's right. There isn't enough support in what we do. There really isn't enough support. But with the groups like yours, you know, there's a couple out there, you will get that support. And it's so needed because we should be there to support each other. Yeah,
I agree. I absolutely agree. Kaz, listen, you are amazing. Okay, first, you guys, remember, so the second group, SDWT online circles and online and in-person circles, she dropped this PDF document in there, so you can check it out. Check out Kaz's first interview. That's on the YouTube channel or in the group's album. If you haven't watched it, you should, because I'm telling you, this woman just loves to share information and really help you. You can, again, I want to bring up the website, kazdukes.co.uk, her Facebook group. If you haven't joined it, join it, because she's always posting stuff in there. Kaz Duke, spiritual tutor at Acorn Academy. We also mentioned about the ectoplasm and stuff. Yes. Scott Milligan, check out his website. Look at his feed. He explains so much of that beautifully there. And if you're looking to join or create a circle, join the SDWT group and put a post up. That's all I want you to do. Don't look at pre-existing ones. Open a new post and say, hi, I want to start a trance circle, or in-person or physical, and say, who would like to join me? Are you interested, or whatever? And from there, I'm telling you, that's how quick it could go in the group sometimes. But Kaz, I am so grateful to you for coming on.
I'm grateful to be able to speak to you again. It's lovely to be able to discuss things that, you know, I think people sometimes need to hear it, or, you know, and it's not very often, like we said at the beginning, that people concentrate so much on their journey and how they've got to where they are now, that they seem to forget about the other important role, which is those that sit with you.
Oh, wow, that's a big one. I mean, I've learned a lot, really, just from, and some of it has been validated for me with the things that you said on the role of what they should do, all the different things. But like I said, the anchor, like, I'll be honest with you, I've never heard of an anchor. I'm like, what, an anchor? But that sounds like what I'm doing sometimes, you know? So all these different things, learning all these different labels, it's just beautiful. I'm telling you, I'm just learning every day. And thank you again, Kaz, for helping me.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so everybody, thank you. I'm so glad. Check out the interviews. This will be posted today. So just know when this comes out today or tonight that I just did this hours ago. So Kaz, you have a fabulous rest of your evening, because I know it's what, 9, 8?
It's nearly 8:30 here.
Okay, Kaz, you have a great rest of your evening, and thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.